Hello Tube, I hope you're good. You're about to see me in two brisk photo walks in two Bulgarian cities, Veliko Tarnovo and Plovdiv. Why these two cities? Stick around to find out. I was traveling on a commercial project which was spread across 10 Bulgarian villages which I had to cover in a 3 days period, which made the schedule extremely tight, and if there was something about to go wrong, the whole schedule was going to be ruined and I had to reschedule the shooting for the next week because I had another appointments after this period, and I had a trip to Cyprus which you're going to see in future episodes. So it was a little bit of struggle. During the realization of this project, I decided to shoot the cities that I was about to sleep in, and this was Stara Zagora and Pazardzhik. But you're about to see what happened exactly and why did I stay in Veliko Tarnovo and Plovdiv. Everything was fine. I was at the first location, and while entering the village I saw a semi-demolished building which I decided to shoot. And then I hopped in the car and I was rushing to the next location because some of the people that I was going to work with asked me if I could be there earlier. So I said yes, and I decided to rush. And then on the highway, my car broke. So the whole schedule and everything just went sideways, and I had to go back to Varna. And about 3 hours later, I was back on the road, but now everything was different. I had to spend the night in Veliko Tarnovo. After my arrival, I was so miserable and so depressed because there was no time to finish the project in schedule, and I decided just to walk around to catch some fresh air, to ease my mind somehow and to refresh myself. It was a quick walk. There was no plan. I know the cities, I know the two cities, Veliko Tarnovo and Plovdiv, but I decided just to walk around and see what catches my eye. It was almost sunset. The sun was very low in Veliko Tarnovo and there was some kind of thin clouds, so there was not exactly contrast in the light, which I prefer. I was shooting with the Voigtlander, and in the first video I said that I want to buy a wider lens, and this time I was shooting with the 28mm Colors Coparex 2.8/28. I'm finding out that I have a weird obsession with stairs and perspective, something that is that has a vanishing point going away from me and slightly curved, or there's something in the background, and I like those two shots. So on some frames I'm making doubles because I'm not always sure for my composition, and I like to do two variations of one and the same shot. I know that's probably better to decide which of two you like best and just take one shot, but hey, I made two of these. Then I continued my walk. I was just looking for something interesting. These are old Bulgarian houses with rich history, and it was a pleasure to just have fun with the Voigtlander. Again, on these shots I was not exactly sure about my composition. I wanted to grab a little bit more of the building on the right, but at the same time I felt that I'm putting the obelisk too much in the end of the shot, so I made a second one, and then I turned around and took a picture of the nearby buildings. I was shooting on Kentmere 400, which I pushed to 1600, and I developed myself and I scanned myself. So the pictures are pretty grainy and there is not a lot of sharpness in the shots, but I like them anyway. And probably I'll push Kentmere in the future only to 800 because I found out that shooting daylight at 1600 is a little bit difficult because on some of my lenses I have only 16 stops, f-stops, and it can shoot only up to 1,000th of a second. So from time to time I was overexposing because there was no way to close or slow down the speed. Here again, I like this house from the point of view that I was approaching it, and then I decided to turn around and make another shot which I thought was going to be a little bit more contrast. I measured the light with my phone with this application that's called Light Me, and I think it's a very good application with a lot of features. I'm making a general measure of light and then I decide what I want to expose more. Do I want to expose for the shadows or do I want to expose for the lights? Depending on what's the brightness of the subject that I want to take picture of and where are the interesting subjects in my picture. Again, my obsession about stairs and graffiti. I like this part of the city culture a lot, the graffiti, and when I see an interesting and meaningful piece in a good location or in a good environment of the city, I like to take pictures of that kind of graffiti. I don't know if it's graffiti or mural, I don't know the word exactly, but I like that kind of stuff. Here I snapped a few shots of these old buildings with modern commercial signs on some of them, and I think it's good to document that kind of stuff because probably after about 10 or 20 or 30 years these buildings will be demolished and something else will be in their place, and it's some kind of history which attracts me. I like old buildings, old cars, some things with history and the environment, the city environment that you can feel from that time. I also like to have contrast in my shots as old versus new. Sometimes I like to shot old buildings and behind to have modern buildings, or like it was in the Belgium shots, I had circus in the middle of the square surrounded by not so modern but newer buildings. On the back you could see the completely modern stuff, the skyscrapers with shiny facades, I don't know the word. So I like to mix up things. At the end of the walk I was already exhausted because of the whole day of driving and shooting, so I snapped a few shots on the way back to the hotel, and this was it for the night. I made the hotel room shot, which I decided was going to be interesting, and then I planned to make a shot from the view from my hotel room, where most of the windows was going to be lit from the inside lights of the houses, and I thought it was going to be interesting, but it ended up severely underexposed because I left the tripod in my car and I was too lazy to go downstairs and take it. So this was the end of the Veliko Tarnovo shooting experience for me. On the next day, I stopped to take pictures of these sunflowers, and I'm currently working on this theme. While I can, and probably I will extend this into the future years, traveling around the country, and whenever I can, I will make pictures of sunflowers. And at the end of the day, I arrived at Plovdiv, and it was very, very hot. I liked a lot the view from my room, so I took a picture of that, and then I went out for a walk. There was a small bird which was hiding from the heat, and because of the windows of the hotel was like mirrors, actually the bird was seeing her reflection and didn't notice me, and I was able to film it from very close distance. I started my walk in Plovdiv with a shot of these ancient ruins, and then I took the main street because this is the road to the old town where I was planning to shoot old buildings and the ancient theater. Remember this door? I'm about to get back and take picture of it later. I don't know why I just went past by it without taking a picture the first time. I finished the first row and I decided to try and load the film with one arm and record the loading of the film, and I made a complete mess. I had to leave the camera and load the film properly, but here's my poor attempt. And if you haven't watched my previous video, I'm shooting Kentmere from a bulk roll. I'm bulk loading my own canisters, and that's why there is a tape with a handwritten sign what's the film. And here I reached the ancient theater of Plovdiv, and here I'm going to make a pause and I'm going to jump in something that I call one paragraph of history. So I'm going to read to you from Wikipedia. The Roman theatre of Philippopolis, Latin Theatrum Trimontense, I hope that's how you pronounce it, is one of the world's best preserved ancient Roman theatres, located in the city center of modern Plovdiv, Bulgaria, once the ancient city of Philippopolis. It was constructed in the 1st century AD, probably during the reign of Domitian, without R. The theater can host between 5,000 and 7,000 spectators and is currently in use. There is a lot of music, concerts and cultural events in this place. After that, I went down for the old area called Kapana, where I was going to have dinner, and I made the last pictures of Plovdiv there. this was the two brisk photo walks that I took during this trip. I'm happy with the Voigtlander, the 28mm, but I'm currently looking for 35mm options because at some occasions I find this lens too wide and I don't want to catch too much from the ground or the sky, because from time to time I'm too close. I'm close enough to the building that I want to shoot, but it's not tall enough, so it's more of a square proportion of the building itself, and I'm catching too much ground and too much air, so I'm looking for a 35mm option. And I have a few tries with the 35. So yeah, and I'm happy with the Kentmere. As I said, I'm not going to push it to 1600. I'm going to push it only to 800 because I find it's more versatile in daylight conditions. And if I decide to shoot it in a lower light, then I'll push it to 1600 again. And thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe, comment if you have comments, ask something if you want to ask, and I hope to make interesting stuff for you. So now go and shoot some film.